In this video, I'll give you a quick introduction to Ableton. If you're new or you've never used Ableton before, I'll show you what some of these things are that you're looking at so you can navigate through the software as you follow along with the upcoming videos. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail because I'll elaborate more on some of the things that you're looking at as we use them. In Ableton, there's three main windows. You have the session and arrangement window, you have the browser window, and the detail window. The window you're looking at right now is the session window. The session window is kind of like your sketchpad. You can hash out some of your ideas where you see the audio and MIDI tracks here. If you look a little further down on the MIDI and audio tracks, you'll see the inputs and outputs. This is basically how you can route sounds from one place to another. Below that, you'll see the sends, which you can use for adding extra effects to your audio and MIDI tracks. If you look below the sends on the audio track, you'll see that you have a volume slider, a pan knob, and also you have a mute, solo, and a record arm. If you look to the right, you'll see that I have set up just a simple reverb and delay on the return tracks. So the sends are sending over here to these return tracks where we have a reverb and a delay setup. These return tracks also have sends and volume, pan, and mute and solo features. And all of that will play through your master channel. You can turn these things on and off. If you look in the right-hand corner here, you can turn on and off the IOs, also the sends and the returns, and then even the mixer. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see these lines, and if I click on this one, or if I hit tab, it allows me to jump over to the arrangement view. And the arrangement view is basically when, after you sketch out your ideas, you can lay them out into a song format. If you used other DAWs before, you might be more familiar with this view. This essentially is where you can build out your song. You'll see that the arrangement view has a lot of the same features as the session view. Your mixer is over here on the right, where you'll see we have the MIDI, audio, and my vocal track where I'm talking through. And the sends are actually located right here. So they don't show up as knobs, but they're these little boxes that you can turn up and down the volume. And then those are sending to the returns, which you'll see are towards the bottom here. And just below that is your master. So that's the session and arrangement window. If you go up to the upper left-hand corner here and you hit this triangle, you'll see the browser window. In the browser window, this is where you get to access all of your files and folders for your audio library, your plugins, and your virtual instruments. One other thing you can access in the browser window is also the groove pool. We'll get more into the groove pool later. So if you look in the bottom right-hand corner with this triangle and I open this up, this is the detail view. And you have these two tabs here. One is the clip view and the other is the device view. So anytime you have a clip selected, it'll show up here. And anytime you insert plugins on the track for processing, you'll see those here where you see drop an instrument or sample. The one other thing, if you look on the far left, is this little triangle. We open up that. This is your info view. If you want to know what something is inside of Ableton and you're not sure, then all you have to do is open up this little window here, scroll your mouse over it, and you'll see it shows you what that is. So if you look here, we have the groove pool. So this is a great little tool if you want to know more about certain things inside of Ableton as you're going through it. But we'll get more in depth and I'll talk more about certain things as we use them. If you look at the very top, you'll see a lot of the transport features. From left to right, you have the global tempo. You can set the meter of the session. Here's the two dots here are your metronome, and you can set the global quantization with this. Over here, if you look, the stop, play, and record buttons, you have access to those. And then you can create loops using the loop feature and these loop brackets right here. So we get to set a loop for this. To the right of that, you have the key and MIDI feature. To the right of that is your CPU usage, which this percentage is showing 0, so it's showing that we're using hardly any computer processing power. And that's just a quick introduction to Ableton. Like I said, we'll get a lot more in depth with how all of this stuff works, but I just wanted you to know where all these things are located, so that way when we get into the next videos, you'll understand what I'm talking about and where these things are at.